How we doing? What's up?
3 scoreless from Bundy. I mean, how big was that?
Yeah, that's probably one of the keys to the game. Obviously, the guys swung the bats well, scored some runs. But, you know, went into it thinking, you know, knowing that Tampa was going to take a hard run at you. It's so hard to win. It's another thing I do, Commissioner Day, have no 4-game series. Of course, this one was self-inflicted by the weather, so that's not self-inflicted. But now Dylan's probably one of the keys to the game. When he gets that 4 or 5 days, you know, usually I'm really proud of how he's kind of come on and been a contributor as opposed to a guy who's out of options.
How encouraging has his June in total been for what his future holds?
Well, he doesn't think about his elbow anymore, his shoulder. He's crossed that threshold, and it's what you hope to do, and you know, bodes well for the future with him. And he's pitching without one of the pitches he'll feature in the future, possibly. So I think, like I said before, one thing that's happened through his challenges physically has been he's developed a changeup, which he had a real good feel for, and it's really helped him defend himself against left-handed hitters. You know, even though it was 12-5 to Spanier, you know, we're really trying to stay away from Zach today. I wasn't going to pitch Brock today. But Dylan was very impressive, especially I think he'd been to 3 and 51, something like that, and we're going to take him past 60. In fact, that was his last hitter.
I mean, is this ideal, what you're doing with him now, or do you hope to get him to 4, or what do you think you're going to do?
What's ideal is he's contributing to the team within the confines of how we have to do it. It's kind of like a Rule 5 pick, you know, and so really we have 4 on the club the way I look at it, and you end up. This is the way we hope to do it going into it, but you got to be able to get people out to do it that way. Is give him some 2 and 3 inning stints and get the rest in between. I think we had one, if maybe none, back to back. That was when he had this real short outing, but he's responded well to this. You know, we're going to try to stay on it, but sometimes the game dictates he has to pitch with less than 3 or 4 days rest. But you know, when you say that's what starting pitchers work on, you know, that's encouraging. You know, we know where we want to get him inning-wise, and we want to, by the end of the year, be thinking about him potentially doing more.
Which I think also has a confidence factor with him, is that he's kind of getting used to everything and getting settled in.
Yeah, you know, I was on an elevator with him somewhere on the road, and he was talking about he's got a healthy respect for the level of play, but not intimidated by it. You know, he knows he's got to do certain things. He can't just get by. You know, when he's going to go in, he's got to get it in there, which he did with foresight. And I think you go through a period where guys, first time these young pitchers, especially high school guys, and even college guys, carry a lot of velocity. First time they get squared up with a 96, 97 mile an hour fastball, what you're going to do up here, how do you react? And that's kind of with Tyler. You know, I think every time he gave up a home run, the next pitch he threw was a strike. That tells you a little something, you know, and it's no accident that a W is next to his name after the game's over today, even though he'd tell you it wasn't one of his better outings.
Do you think that you have to wait till possibly September when you have an expanded roster to start Dylan?
No. If we didn't have to use him, like I told you the other day, he was an option for me, but we had to use him to win a game and went to another direction. It just depends on how it falls. Right now he's doing a good job in the role that we've been able to do. You know, but it's not always going to be there. You know, it's fortunate to get, 3, 4, 5 days off for a relief pitcher in the American League and being able to stretch him out. But, you know, getting the 2 and 3 inning stints gets us closer to the inning count we want to get to.
About the back-to-back bunts in the second inning. Is Pena called for a sacrifice there, and then A.J. just goes on his own?
Yes. So we get some of the, what do y'all call it? Manufacturing or small, get some of that out of the way for a while. What does that mean? You know, I thought that was big ball. I thought it was, no.
The team's struggling over there, but what does it mean to take a 4-game series from an AL East?
It's hard, and we know they're pitching, and we caught them when they've got a lot of people hurt, and you're hoping to take advantage of it before they get out of town, because next time we see them, trust me, it'll be a different club, and they'll have, they were try to take advantage of it when you catch them down. But we had to scratch and claw to get them. Y'all saw them. There weren't many of them easy.
Glad you kept Davis's bat in the lineup, even though you wanted to get him off the field.
We did, but he made himself pretty active. I liked him trotting around the field. That was good. It's funny. I think he was like 2 for 17 with about 10 strikeouts against him, but the 2 were home runs, and they were kind of recent. I was talking to him last night and this morning. Chris never, and believe me, I've been doing this a little while, Chris never ducks anybody. He never says, yeah, this guy don't hit. And believe me, I've had some really good players that, all things being equal, would have probably chose to watch the game today. Chris never does that. I thought Trum was crisp at first base. You know, he went out today and worked out double play. That very athletic play on everybody's part. Tyler, another thing that he brings.
Well, it's the first time in a couple months that you've had JJ and Manny both on the field for an entire series, and you sweep 4 games. What's it like having most of your key parts back out there?
Well, we're still missing some of them, and we'll eventually. What usually happens, you get one back and another one. This is a hard thing to do, but it's a comforting feeling, and having guys out there that you know what to expect. They'll have their ups and downs, but it's no prerequisite. We've lost, but it makes us a better club. But we've got some people that really help us hold the fort down until we get back. We always think we're at full strength when whoever we put out there. Ryan did a great job, and will continue to do some things for us. And being able to put Trum over there, we talk a lot about having the versatility to move guys around. Now we get to take the show west, or whatever you call it, in 12 days.
Point of emphasis in spring training, and also a point of emphasis, at least verbally, from Dan in the offseason was to improve your on-base percentage this year. And you guys are ranked 2nd in the American League 3 months in. Why, and what does that say?
No, it's about the players. It was a point of emphasis last year and the year before. It's nothing new. But what's Adam got, 20 walks now? Adam's starting to take on some characteristics of a leadoff hitter.
He's done 5 times to do it.
Well, the walk, the bunt, and I thought he might try to steal that bag off Webb, but he wasn't feeling that chipper. But, outs are precious. You got to make sure you can get them. We'll probably finish last in stolen bases this year, but it's about scoring runs.
Does Kim and Rickard play into that? I mean, the on-base percentage as far as...
One of the things we look for in the Rule 5 draft. That was one of the selling points with Joey, and also how his career had gone. I'll tell you, when you see a guy go play in Australia, go play in Dominican, this guy wants to be a big leaguer. It's hard to get guys to go to winter ball. There's so many, Dan and I were talking about it today, of so many things that paint a picture of what a player's about when you're thinking about acquiring them or drafting them. A lot of guys, hey, let's go play some winter ball. Nah, I don't think so. It was Joey's idea. He went, this guy wants to be good. He wants to play in the big leagues. He's going to do everything possible to get there. So those are things you look for when you're trying to acquire, not only when you're talking about trades. That's why you do much homework as we tried to do on Trumbo before we got him.
You said before the game that you were contemplating some moves afterward. Is there a possibility that you are going to make some moves tonight?
Yes, there is, but I can't until I talk to Dan and see what where we are on a couple things with the 10-day thing and some impending bursts, and we're checking labor pains and got a lot of moving parts, including babies. So we got to see where we are with all that. Because the West Coast is a long way to get somebody back and forth from, so you try to leave here and be as close to full strength as you can when you get out there Tuesday. I'll tell you, it's been a challenging day. I was thinking about how physically taxing it was on these guys the last 2 days to be able to come out and play with that intensity. That's real proud for me. I'll tell you, that's hard to do. There's play with a lot of energy here the last 3 days, and that's hard to do. I think the fans and the crowds had a lot to do with it too. It was really a pick-me-up for the guys. Have that many people that decide they want to come out here on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's pretty cool. We never take that for granted.
Do you think you'll have those moves by the time you get on the bus?
Probably not publicly. I can tell you why here shortly.